We'll get to picks here in just a bit. Let's shift to men's basketball quick though. They finish off non-conference play, I mean, pretty handily. Dispatched Southern in front of a full house at PBA. And so Nebraska heads back into Big Ten play. They're 11 and 2 overall. They finished non-con 10 and 1. What have you guys sort of seen from this team that's allowed them to get to the start that they have? And what are they going to have to lean on now that they go into conference play to start doing what they want to do?
Well, first of all, I enjoyed last night watching Nebraska up by 30 and you go 11 and 2. Yeah, that's just Nebraska basketball, right? And it's just schedule, which is going to be um, upgraded here very quickly. But that's what they decided to do. And I think it was the right move. But I like the fact that this is a team that's got role players who who know their roles and do them very well. And all the pieces fit together. Everybody knows their job, and they've got two leaders, um, which is, I think, very important. If you're going to try to make the NCAA tournament, you got to have leadership. You got to be able to handle the ball, and you got to be able to make shots. These guys play defense, and they're playing really well right now. But again, the competition, the bar is going to be raised here real very quickly. But I do think that they will play good defense. I think it's a team that's built to win in the Big Ten. Um, they can't have any more clunkers like they had in East Lansing. But I'm kind of excited to watch them play. I'm still getting to know these guys. I'll be there Saturday to watch them. But right now, Bryce Williams, man, he's just playing as well as anybody in the Big Ten, and
Yep.
haven't had that in a while. Um, you know, Casey was like a phenomenon but it was built on he has to make shots and I think he was able to drive to the basket and get shots, but I feel like Bryce is a whole different deal, and so it's just gonna be fun. And the Saturday it was packed last night for that game. It's gonna be crazy Saturday, I think. So hoops is here. Let's have some fun.
Evan, I would suggest that when he's making shots, Berkey Buchengel might be Nebraska's third best player,
Yeah.
and he transferred from UCLA because he wasn't playing very much there. It gives
Hmm.
you a sense of how good UCLA got in the offseason. So they added two players from other schools. Those are probably their two best players now. Tyler Bilodeau, who they added from Oregon State, and then Eric Daly. I can't remember where he was from, but that is a very, very good basketball team that's coming in here, and they're really good on defense. So Mick Cronin is their coach. He made his hay at Cincinnati, then moved to UCLA, and obviously I think got a team to the Final Four a couple of years ago. Jalen Suggs, by the way, is that player I was referring to from Gonzaga, who made the shot against UCLA in the Final Four a couple of years ago. But um, anyway, it's an incredibly big game. There's just no question about how big it is. UCLA has never played in Bob Devaney Sports Center. This is a blue blood. I don't know how many you say there in college basketball. I'll leave that to Tom to say how many blue bloods there are, but I think UCLA qualifies. And so this is a big deal. This is like Kansas coming to town. And UCLA is also good. They beat Gonzaga. They have one loss in their last five to North Carolina. It was close. It was a great game. But UCLA beat Oregon, they beat Arizona, and they beat Gonzaga in their last five games. That's how good UCLA is. So Nebraska's going to have to play its A. They're going to have to bring their A game. I enjoy watching Nebraska's defense play. They know exactly what they want to do. They play as a team, and they are that Hawaii run. I wouldn't know if I would call it inspiring, but it was smothering. I mean, they made those teams look really bad on offense. And so I think Nebraska's got a chance. And Tom's right. Bryce Williams has a chance to win Big Ten Player of the Year. You don't say that very often because you just don't. It just doesn't come up very often, but he does. And he would be the first one to win Conference Player of the Year since Vincent Hamilton did it in the Big 12. That was the year that Kansas was down in 99. They weren't great that year because Rafe LaFrance and Paul Pierce had just left. And so Vincent Hamilton snuck in there and won Big 12 Player of the Year. Bryce Williams has a chance to do the exact same thing this year. If he, I don't even know who his competition is per se. Maybe the guy from Northwestern, maybe this Tyler Bilodeau, maybe, and maybe a guy from Oregon. Although Oregon is a team that's very balanced, so I don't know if you pick one guy. If Bryce leads them to a NCAA tournament berth or to a top 5 seed in the Big Ten, I think he could be the guy that wins the award. He's playing really well, and he's fun to watch because he can score from almost anywhere on the court. And Casey didn't do that. Casey was a bomb thrower. This Bryce can score from anywhere, and I kind of like watching it.
I think the other thing that's fun about Nebraska basketball, especially in recent years, has been the impact of that home crowd. And the PBA crowd is different from other sports. Like to go to a volleyball match, it's a ton of fun, but it's hard to get into if you're not a season ticket holder. Football obviously has the sellout streak. It's kind of felt like at times an obligation during the last 8 to 10 years. PBA is like the cool, like young place to be. Like I think if you were to ask a student which one they prefer to go to of all the major sports, they would say it's basketball. I mean, they have fun with it. It's the canvas that's the least painted at this point. Like there just isn't a lot of great history to fall back on with Nebraska basketball, but I'm excited to see what that atmosphere is like this weekend when you have a big time opponent coming in. It's been the place where ranked teams have gone to die in the past, especially recently. Like it feels like they get a value of an extra couple of shots every home game they play. Opponents seem like they get rattled from time to time. So yeah, I mean, you take what Bryce Williams has done, Connor Sejan, and his role has been, I think, pretty compelling. What they've done defensively, and then you add in just sort of the hornet's nest that is PBA. And this, I know the students won't really be on campus yet, still on holiday break and whatnot, but what an opportunity for Fred Hoiberg's group to come out and establish themselves as a leader in a league right now that's maybe not as top heavy as it's been in recent years.
I should add too, the reason I didn't bring up Rutgers' Dylan Harper in that Big Ten Player of the Year conversation, I should have. So I, I don't know that Rutgers is going to make the NCAA tournament, but Dylan Harper is the best player in the league. That's obvious, and he'll be the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. And so I don't know how that's all going to work because a lot of times league awards are about team success, but Dylan Harper probably deserves to win the Big Ten Player of the Year, irrespective of whether Rutgers makes the NCAA tournament. I mean, he's an incredible player. But again, the way that stuff works is a lot of times it's a team award. The top NBA draft pick last year was not Zach Edey from the Big Ten, but he won the award. So, Bryce Williams has a legitimate chance because I don't know if Rutgers is going to be an NCAA tournament team. They might be, but they may not be too.
Do you guys feel like what you've seen from Nebraska basketball to this point that changes your outlook on what they can do in the Big Ten? I mean, we talked before the season that they might be a top 6 to 8 team in the league. Is that still about where you guys see them, or has that changed?
It's too soon. But they haven't really played. I mean, their schedule is really soft. Um, the tournament in Hawaii was soft. But I like what they did to beat Indiana. They played great defense. Their defense is going to keep it in every game. And that I say that they got blown out at Michigan State. So I think I'll stand by that. They'll be in every game with their defense. Are they going to hit shots? Are they going to rebound? Are they going to stay out of foul trouble, which they usually, um, they can get in foul trouble, but I think they have a lot of nice pieces, especially inside. They're going to rebound. It's a different feel from last year. It's more like 2 years ago in some ways. Yeah, I think they could be in the top 8, but they got to go do it. I mean, the Big Ten is every night. Every night is tough, and so they got to play defense, and they got to go get their shots. So and they got to make them. So, but yeah, but Um, I'm taking a little bit of a wait and see on this because I know the players are the leaders are veterans. I know what they're all about, but and they beat Creighton. That was a good win. They beat Indiana, but still a little wait and see, and we're gonna find out quickly.
Hmm. Tom's right about that. UCLA on Saturday at Iowa. It's still Iowa at Iowa, at Purdue, and then Dylan Harper comes to town, I think, and then at Maryland. So, um, yeah, that's going to be maybe Dylan Harper doesn't come to town. I'm not exactly sure. No, he does. Yeah,
Yeah.
on January 16th, and man, that'll be a show. That might be the best player that's been in PBA if you don't count what Zach Edey did, which you do, but that might be the best overall player that's been in PBA in a long time. So that'll be fun when he comes to town. But yeah, they're going to find out real fast because they can lose all five of those games, and I also feel like they can win four of them. I give them low odds of winning at Purdue, but I think they can win four out of the five if they're playing their game.
Hmm. Sam, do you want to give us a quick update on women's basketball and what they're doing here heading into the new year as well?
Very quick. They lost at UCLA 91 to 54 on Sunday. UCLA is the number one team in the country and played like it. Nebraska actually played pretty well for a quarter and a half. Tomorrow they play at USC and Juju Watkins. I think that Nebraska has a chance against USC. I really believe that. I didn't think they'd have much of a chance against UCLA, but I do think they have a chance against USC if they play well. And then they'll come back home and play Penn State and Michigan State. Those are huge games for their NCAA tournament resume because Michigan State is going to make the NCAA tournament and Penn State is a pretty decent team. So they're still in flux. They're still trying to figure out where the roles are, and they're the ones that drew the short stick of having to play UCLA and USC, both top five teams, back to back during the holidays. But
Hmm.
once they get past it, I think they'll be okay.
Also, real quick, we didn't discuss volleyball, but their season ends. They have still had nobody go into the portal, and they haven't gotten anybody out of the portal yet. You figure that's something probably is going to change in that regard in 2025. That's a team that'll have a little work to do ahead of it as well. Should we go to picks?
We have four games to pick very quickly. As it stands right now, Evan, neither one of us have gained any ground on you. I would have gained two on you if Iowa had not choked away this win.
Yeah.
Kudos to Missouri for an exhibition game. My gosh, they finished that game great. I mean, they dominated Iowa in the second half. So I had picked Iowa. You guys picked Missouri. So we're pretty much all even up. So it's going to be very, very hard to catch you. But let's do it. Boise State, Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl.
Penn State for me.
Yeah, same here.
Penn State for me, but I think it could be interesting. The Peach Bowl, Texas, Arizona State.
I'm gonna go Sun Devils.
Okay.
I'm going to go Texas, but I think it'll be a good game.
I do too. I'm going to pick Texas so long as they run the ball. Texas has an incredible run game that Steve Sarkisian doesn't always use. Ohio State against Oregon in one of the great Rose Bowls in recent years, the Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Oregon.
I think the Buckeyes, the Ryan Day revenge tour is on, and they might go all the way. I'll take the Buckeyes.
I'll take Ohio State as well.
I'm going to go the Ducks, man. I think they've been the best team in college football. They did it once. I think they can do it again.
And then finally, the Sugar Bowl, Notre Dame, Georgia. Feels like 40 years ago, even though I wouldn't have remembered that. Notre Dame, Georgia in the Sugar Bowl.
I actually like Georgia's quarterback. I thought he played well in the last game. I'm gonna take Georgia.
They're both down. I mean, they lost players both to injury in their first games. I'm gonna go Notre Dame, man. It just feels like they've really found something here late in the year.
I'll take Notre Dame too. I think it's going to be a low scoring game that's kind of a slugfest. 17-16 Notre Dame.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add? Last chance in 2024.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. Happy New Year for all everyone who's listened to us this year. We'll be back next year, man. It's going to be another fun season, calendar year. of Nebraska athletics.
Two
For
weeks.
Thomas,
So we're going to take next week off, and then we'll be back.
yes,
Unless there's some emergency thing to talk about next week, we will not return until the week of January 13th.
we'll be back then. Thanks for listening, guys. Happy New Year. Enjoy the football. We'll talk to you later. This is the Pick Six Podcast.